Welcome back. Rather noisy Fred 2 video. Right, that's better. Right, welcome to my archaic 2008 Ibiza. Very low res, very low spec, innit, compared to modern cars with touch screens and things like that. Right, do you remember that I did the instrument binnacle, that little speaker? It went wrong, and I did that, didn't I? And I was very pleased with that job. Well, when I disconnected the battery to take out the instruments, I lost the radio. The radio should have had a code on it that was written in the book, because I bought this one from the dealer. Anyway, when I looked to put the code in, I didn't have the code. So the car was going into the dealers anyway to have another little bit of work done to it. So I asked them to put the code in on the radio, which they did. They charged me 20 quid, which was a bit of a cheek, as they sold me the car originally without the code. Anyway, but they had to take the radio out to get the serial number from the back and then go on their computer and get the code. £20 later, but never mind. When it came back, I don't use the radio much, because it's only just a basic AM/FM RDS radio. It's not a DAB radio, and any radio that I listen to indoors, I listen to on DAB, on the Bose system. So I've not really been using it because I've got used to DAB, and it seems, but the CD works, and it's got an auxiliary in for MP3 and stuff like that, and it reads MP3. Anyway, when I sort of switched the radio on, it wasn't receiving on certain stations, a couple of the oldie stations, because I'm old, I'm old now. A couple of the oldie stations like Magic and LBC. It was slightly like hissy, and it was crackling, and it just wasn't receiving, as if it's like the little audio amplifier in the radio wasn't working. So I immediately thought of the garage, because they'd had the radio out to get the code from the radio. So I thought, maybe they've not pushed the antenna back. And then I thought of the little whip antenna itself, because that's kind of 10 years old and that's getting a little bit brittle. So I put some of that rubberized amalgamating tape, the stuff. So I put that on the whip, and I took it all off, and I cleaned it, put contact spray, and spent a little bit of time doing that. And then I had to realise I was going to have to take the radio out to check the connections on the back. I didn't really want to take it back to the dealers, and it's a bit of a trek. So we went online, we got little credit card slips, and we tried to use the credit card slips on the radio. That didn't work. So then I had to send off for the proper little radio keys. So that was, there you go. I think they were about 3 or 4 quid or something. Anyway, they slide in. I'm not going to take it out now, and they allow you to pull the radio out. So I pulled the radio out today, and just to check the garage hadn't disturbed the antenna connector, and it was absolutely fine. So I took that off and cleaned it up with a little bit of wire wool, and put a bit more contact spray on that, put it all back. But the radio is still kind of very low on the signal, very fading. So I was thinking, well, maybe somewhere it'd have a little built-in amplifier just before the head unit. To all of these radios are pre-amplified now, so I thought, maybe that's failing. I'm not going to get too deep in. I'm going to get rid of the car this year anyway, so it's a bit of a pain. And then I was sitting here with the car just on ignition, just playing with the radio, and it sounded absolutely fine. And when I started the car, then the interference started up, and I thought, well, that's a bit strange. Maybe the car itself is interfering with the radio, the preamplifier, once the engine's running. And then I went just to having all of the ignition on, and again the radio station had faded out. So I'm thinking, that's a bit odd. And then I thought, what have I done? What have I fitted about the same time that the car went into the garage? And I thought, the little dash cam. I fitted the dash cam, and that's been working really great. So I thought, I wonder if the dash cam is interfering, and that's what it was, and I can demonstrate that. And I've got into the dash cam. I've turned off the Wi-Fi. It's not the Wi-Fi but it's just the dash cam itself. It's a bit odd. I'll demonstrate it. I'll find the keys. You can tell this is a Fred 2 video, isn't you? This is just very, you know. I hope everyone's okay, by the way. You know, Sean, Andy, Gary, Lewis, all the regulars, Tom. Right. So here's the radio normal. So that sounds okay. Now I've plugged the dash cam in. Turn the ignition on. Listen. See that? Unplug the dash cam. Plug it back in again. And there we go. So there we go. So the little tall guard dash cam. I don't think it's the adapter. I suppose I could try another adapter, but I think it's just the fact that you got the 5 volts going up through the USB connector there. But it's interfering with the radio, which is it's not a biggie really, because as I say, I don't use the radio much. You know, not in this car. But I was thinking of getting one for the Volvo, and that's got a nicer stereo in it. So just something to sort of bear in mind, isn't it? I won't bother putting it up on the main video. I think people have been sort of quite happy. People have been quite happy with the little dash cam itself, and it's working really well. I took the card out, and you know, because I drove through all that snow and stuff, and I had a look, and it's working quite well. So there you go. It's a bit odd, isn't it? So it's just obviously, you know, having the 5 volts running through the sort of cabling, which goes a little bit up near the radio, I suppose. I've sort of run it sort of round a dashboard there, and it sort of comes down there, but having that obviously interferes with the radio. You wouldn't believe it, but typical, isn't it? It just shows you it's one of those jobs, isn't it, that you start off blaming something else, like blaming the garage, that the garage had messed it up, and having to buy radio keys, which I've got a set of these somewhere, you know, and having to take your stereo out and almost kind of replacing the antenna and starting to trace. If it was, you know, if I was keeping the car longer, I'd start tracing the wiring, trying to find the amplifier unit. And it was that all along. Okay, just thought I'd share that with you. It's a bit boring, I know, but this is Fred 2. So anyway, hope everyone's fine. You was okay in all the snow. It's much sort of better at the moment. We've got sunshine here in St Albans, and about 8 or 9 degrees. It feels like summer. But I do understand that the cold weather's coming back for Easter. So if any of you that are planning to travel Easter holidays, just be aware that you might get some even some more snow. The winter's not through with us yet. Anyway. Cheers, thanks for watching this crap, and catch you on the next one. Normal service on Fred 1, of course. Just me waffling in the car. What a sad person I am, but anyway, there you go. Okay, guys, and guys, catch you later. Take care, look after each other, and catch you on the next one.